What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 42 of Feel the Heat. The Heat, who are in first place in the Eastern Conference, which we'll get to a little bit later because I thought that regular season didn't matter, and now all of a sudden it seems like it does. But Mr. Michael, how are you this evening?
Whoa, wait a minute.
I'm just saying I thought regular season doesn't matter, but now I woke up to rah, we're first in the East.
Oh, so everybody else saying that.
Well,
but the specifically the regular season doesn't matter thing, that's at me.
No, actually, when I tweeted that out, it wasn't at you, but you have said that multiple times.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. I thought that before.
In your defense, though, you're also not, I haven't necessarily seen you boasting about the Heat being in first. Like, I'm sure you're pleased about it, but I didn't take shots at you intentionally today.
I mean, I think you do. I think I'm top of mind all the time with you, which is where I should be. But look, I think being in first is great. I don't think the Heat are going to finish in first in the Eastern Conference. The Heat aren't a consistent enough team, in my opinion, to finish in that spot. Do I think they can? Yes. Do I think they will? No. When I say regular season doesn't matter, it just, look, win your playoff matchups. I know this team can win literally any playoff matchup they get in the Eastern Conference. There's not a single team that I sit there and think the Heat cannot beat them. There's not a single team in the East I think that he can't beat.
You are overlooking the Bucks like crazy.
Bucks are a fantastic team. Do not get me wrong. Do I think that would be an easy series? Absolutely not. Do I think the Heat come out on top? For sure. So that's why I look.
I could say the same.
Regular season to me, when I say it doesn't matter, I'm like, I'm one of those that thinks you can take rest games. And I think this team, with its depth and the way they've played, has shown that we can do that. You don't need...
Okay, but you have to admit, you aside, there is this narrative of especially when we weren't doing well, people were like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we finish because we're going to crush it in the playoffs. All right, if it doesn't matter, though, then why is my timeline full of only, the Heat are first in the East, like no one can mess with us? Like, pick a lane, man.
I mean, everybody just changes the narratives to whatever fits them. No, everybody just changes the narrative to whatever fits, whatever they want it to fit. Please let's not act like you do not with wishy-washy, ma'am.
Are you serious? I've literally been consistent in every take I've had.
Okay, well, so we're half a season in, so you have a whole other half a season for this consistency.
What have I wavered on?
No, like what I'm saying is when people are making an argument, they like look for like backing data. So all these people that think that the Heat are a great team, they're going to say the Heat are number one in the East, so they're a great team. The people that think they're a great team and then the Heat stumble down to like third seed, for example.
Then they're going to be like, regular season doesn't matter. Can't wait for the playoffs.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just wishy-washy crap.
That's what fans are for.
I hate that. That's not what fans are for.
Fans are there to support the team and then yell at them when they're unhappy about them and then ride the wave all the way at the peak when they're doing well.
Stay realistic. Why is that so difficult?
We've had this argument. I just think riding the wave is fun. Riding the wave is fun. The lows,
fraudulent.
The lows are terrible, but the highs are fantastic. I will agree with you on people that are wishy-washy with takes like this, right? For example, if somebody comes in and says, oh, I don't think Bam should be the starter anymore. I think Yurtseven should be the starter, right? And then Bam has a few good games, and that person comes back and is like, listen, Bam should have always been the starter. Bam is the starter. That's a wishy-washy take.
How is that any different? That's basically what I'm saying.
For example, I can be happy that the Heat are first in the East and congratulate them for being first in the East, and also think that the regular season doesn't matter.
Oh, 100%. And I'm like that too, where I think the regular season matters because of how it positions us going into the playoffs. So, but I'm staying like stably, like, yes, I'm happy we're in first. I don't necessarily think we're going to stay there, but It's this just roller coaster ride of opinions and takes and emotions. And I'm like, do you even know what you believe in? I swear to God, it changes every day.
I honestly think a lot of it is just excitement over the surprise that is the Heat being first in the Eastern Conference. And it's not just look, fully healthy roster. I still don't think anybody would have picked the Heat 48 games into the season to be the number one team in the Eastern Conference, right? But then you add on to that the fact that they lost Bam for a while. They lost Jimmy for a good amount of games. We haven't had Kyle for about a week and a half. And we're still first in the East. I think
it's 100% worth celebrating. I am thrilled about it. My point is that
you start saying a bunch of random things. For example, look, if the Heat go and win the finals, or when the Heat went to the finals and they played the Lakers, did Heat players get put up higher in player rankings than maybe they should have been because of what happened the season before? Yes, that's just what happens. It's normal. You get excited, it pushes you, and you start making some wild takes.
Yeah, I can't relate.
Just let people have their takes.
It's annoying. And it just, my problem is that I think it's like calling wolf or crying wolf at a certain point. It's just like, I don't know what you actually believe. And I'm not talking about you, but it's like, I've literally seen people flip-flop between 7 different completely opposing takes this season. And I'm like, which one's the real you though? Like, what is it that you actually believe about this team or about a specific player? It's just like, I have whiplash.
Here's what I can tell you that all of those people, well, not all of them, but most of those people do believe. What most of those people believe in is the Miami Heat and Heat culture, and their takes vary. And sometimes they take one game and they decide, I'm making an opinion based on this one game. And personally, I'm not a fan of that. I don't think any one game is any sample size to make a valid, like, oh, here is my conviction on whatever it is. But they do, and they tweet it, and then they'll tweet something else later. That's just what Twitter is. Twitter is what are your thoughts right in this moment? And then you tweet them out, and then something changes your mind, and you're like, I'm just gonna tweet something else out. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems very clout chasey to me, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
For some people, yes. For others, it's literally just how they choose to be a fan. And I, for one, do not believe in changing the way anybody wants to be a fan, because everybody goes to be a fan whatever way they want.
If I could change that, I would have done it already. So I'm not sitting here trying to change anyone, because trust me, I would not have lived through the past 2-3 seasons of Heat Twitter if I could do anything about it. I'm just saying I found it very interesting how many regular season doesn't matter folk were coming out, and now it's the end all be all of the first seed shows everything. Just making an observation.
Oof. I've never ever believed in first seed shows anything, a la Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose, they first seed 2 years in a row, and they were just like bounced real quick.
Yeah,
I think, the first year they made it to these conference finals.
Yeah, that 1 year.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. I loved destroying that team, especially blocking Derrick Rose at the end.
I have many thoughts on a lot of what you just said, but we're going to keep it moving and talk about these last 3 games, because we went 2-1 since the last time we recorded. Did you have any overall takeaways, reactions, comments, concerns?
Let's see. Well, there's one specific player that I think is just, he's so out of place. He's scoring more points now.
Yeah, I still don't think he's a good fit.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, my opinion doesn't change. And I said this last pod, I don't care if he's making 100% or 0% of his shots. I'm talking about fit, and nothing I said had anything to do with how he was shooting.
I know, but I do think it's just so perfectly timed.
Did Sean put you up to this, by the way?
No, he didn't.
Is Sean texting you right now, telling you what to say? Because this screams Sean to me.
He's probably coaching a game or something right now. Here's all I'm saying.
He's coaching your Duncan game right now and what to say, apparently.
Do you think I can't have my own Duncan takes?
You know what? Go ahead.
That's what it sounds like, ma'am. Listen, I just think it's so funny that we have the rant that we do. Okay, and we yell at each other as much as we
based in performance, so it has nothing to do with Duncan picking his game up. Like, I don't care.
But now it feels like you're upset that he's playing well, and I know you're not. I know you're not.
Oh my god,
no.
Why would I be upset that a player is playing well on my team?
No, I know you're not upset about it, but I'm talking about Duncan Robinson right now, and you're like, is Sean telling you to say this? Where is this?
Because
like, it's just funny.
I don't understand how people can't differentiate the fact that I was not talking about what was happening on the court. Like, I don't think he's a good fit. He can literally shoot lights out from tomorrow until eternity. that opinion doesn't change. Am I happy he's back? Yeah. Do I believe that it's going to last? No. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the drought or whatever slump or whatever you want to call it is over. That doesn't change my opinion that I don't think he's a good fit. And if we're going to make a trade, that's who I would trade away. Still same opinion.
I'm just happy that Duncan played well.
If that helps us win, great.
But he's been playing
think.
real gritty. He's had at least one steal in the last 3 games. He had a block against the Trailblazers. Like,
he's a little more well-rounded. That doesn't mean he's gritty.
He's hustling. Look at that attitude. Let's get him some real. He restarted his podcast to the, like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. What's behoovement? I want to say behoovement, but I don't think that's it.
I don't know what it is you're trying to say, but I could help you out if I did.
Oh, to the ire. There we go. That's a word.
That's a good
verbiage. To the ire of Heat fans everywhere. The Long Shot Pod came back.
Yeah, I don't understand how that has anything to do with his skill set either.
The man can't pod and play basketball. It shows toughness, right? When everyone's calling you out for your pod, you flip them off and you say, I'm doing my pod anyways. And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to put 25 points on LeBron James's head. And I'm going to get him to come back to Miami. We'll talk about that later. But
oh boy, this is going to be a night. I have a feeling.
Well, you seem to be very like objective to takes that are kind of wild and out there.
Well, no, it's just, it was funny because when I was putting together this rundown, I was like, this is clearly going to come up of people, aka you, being like, oh, well, look, Duncan's playing well. And it's just like, but that had nothing to do with what I was saying. I still think what I thought.
No, yeah. It had nothing to do with what you're saying. And you still thought what you thought. And I know you're happy he's doing well, but you were the anti-Duncan in the argument and Duncan's on the up. So I win.
Duncan still's the odd man out on the team. And why do you win? The team is winning, which means I'm also happy.
If the team wins, I win. I never said I win, you lose. I never said I win, you lose. I just said I win. That's all I said.
Any other takeaways?
They lost to the Hawks, but that's one of those losses that you kind of expect just because we thought they were going to lose one to the Hawks when they played them. I think it was back to back.
Yeah.
Right. They lost this one, but hey, credit to the Heat because that game was basically completely out of hand and they came back and they stormed back in and they fought their way back into the game. And then they did the thing that, I detest almost more than anything else that the Miami Heat do consistently. And it is down by 2, letting Jimmy take a 3-pointer.
I did see that. So I actually watched Bucks Bulls that evening, but I did tune into that. And it was a choice. That was a choice shot to take.
I'll ask you, somebody put the stat out there of like Jimmy Butler taking threes to like tie the game or take the lead in the last couple minutes. And it was like a really bad shooting percentage. It happens all the time. And I get that Jimmy is the guy on the team. I don't like him taking that shot. I don't want him taking that shot. No. I would rather have him go to the basket and dish it out or just go to the basket, shoot a 2, try to get another foul before he shoots a 3. Do you like Jimmy taking that shot? Who would you rather have taking those shots in those closing moments down by 2?
Are you talking any shot or a 3 in specific?
Any shot. Would you rather have, like, do you want Jimmy just taking a layup? Like, that's what you want? You want the ball in Jimmy's hand, let him pick whatever he wants? Or do you want somebody else? Because I'll give my take, but I'm going to let you go first.
Not really. I don't have any rhyme or reason to this, but when you first asked the question, Kyle was the one that came to mind. So yeah, I'd rather have Kyle take that shot.
I would rather have the ball in Kyle's hands. I don't know if I necessarily want Kyle taking the shot, right? I would rather have the ball in Kyle's hands and then he can figure it out, right? Maybe drive to the basket, try to collapse the defense, dish it out to a 3-pointer, maybe get a pick and roll off of Bam. He can set it up to Bam.
I think I want him driving and taking it. I don't want him taking a 3, but I want Kyle going there and just getting it done.
Agreed. I don't think I want him taking a 3 because of the way his 3-point shooting has been going. I just think, look, I love Jimmy. And down the stretch, right, there's like 2.5 to 3 minutes left. We're down by 4 or 5. I'm fine with the ball being in Jimmy's hands. Jimmy's trying to make something happen. It's that forced up 3 that he does this like fade away and he always kicks out the same legs. And it's just like, it doesn't work.
No, man. And you know it's not going in.
Listen, you go into that possession And you're like, well, I know exactly what's going to happen. Gonna get the ball to Jimmy. Jimmy's going to take some 3-pointer and it's going to miss. And
But see, and everyone else is starting to know too. So no one's even trying to close in or like figure another defensive
it's
opportunity out.
Don't help off of anybody else.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
No.
Just put one medium to good defender on Jimmy and it's fine. He's going to force up a 3. Also, we're down by 2. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
Maybe drive to the basket. I don't. He does it way too often for my text. And again,
who was even in? Because Kyle wasn't there. Who was in? Everyone else
for
but
that
Kyle?
last play. Shoot, I don't remember exactly who was in.
Well, regardless, I think Kyle was the only one not there, so there was still plenty of other opportunities to be had by other players.
Right. And to be fair, credit to Max Strus, who then grabbed the offensive rebound. And I thought he was going to make that, like he had like a little fadeaway, like kind of falling over basically in the paint a little bit further out. I thought that was going in and I was going to be so hyped for it. There's a lot of other people on the floor. There's a lot of other people I'd rather have take that shot. It just feels like, look, back when we had Dwayne, it's in Dwayne's hands. Nobody else touches it. When we had LeBron, it's in LeBron's hands. Nobody touches it. Jimmy, fantastic player. Love him to death. I don't have him in that closing shot anywhere near Wade and LeBron.
What I will say about Jimmy, though, and I knew this was going to happen after that went down the way it did, for every mistake he makes, he comes back and gives you better tenfold. Like that next game from Jimmy was incredible because Jimmy knows. He knows when he messes up, he takes it personally and he vows to do better. The problem is just don't do it anymore. This is not like a one-time offense. This is like, we know what you're about to do. It's not going to work. I'm glad you come back and you bounce back and you give us what we need, but just let's stop.
I will say real quick, as like an aside, us continually saying Jimmy knows, Jimmy needs to do this, Jimmy's going here, just reminds me of an episode of Seinfeld where there's this guy who talks in third person and he's like, Jimmy likes that very much. Jimmy played basketball great today. Like that's just, it's a very funny Seinfeld episode. So I was just saying, because Jimmy knows. He came back and he played great against the Lakers. I just look that honestly, I don't know how much to put on Spoelstra. If like
he deserves a little blame.
He does, but also Jimmy comes into the huddle and says, "Give me the ball. I'm taking the shot." Like
but
he
at
is the guy.
Point, sure. Right. But at a certain point, I mean, I feel like Spoke can be like, yeah, we saw how that went the last 7 times you tried it, and then just kind of.
I wish it was just 7. It's literally been all of them.
Yeah,
like it's so frustrating because it's like right? Like you just know what's gonna happen. It's like, guys, what do we come up with a play? Get some motion, right? Spo, you're good at making plays too. If you told me we had some coach like I don't know, like any of the coaches LeBron James has basically ever had, aside from Eric Spoelstra, where I don't trust them to come up with anything, and it's just like give it to our best player, hope for the best. I completely understand. But like, Spo, you're good at this. You should know. You have some analytics, guys.
Part of the problem is him for allowing it.
Let's give it to literally anybody else. Who's having a great night that night? There's a lot of people having good nights that night. Duncan Robinson was having a decent night that night. Max Strus wasn't shooting all that great. The hustle was there. Caleb Martin, decent night. Like, come on. 3-pointers are not your thing, Jimmy. They haven't been for years. Just leave it. Just leave it. Right? Leave it alone. I don't know. It's just frustrating, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anyone out there would disagree. For as much arguing as I can do with Heat Twitter and Heat Twitter can do amongst itself, I don't think anyone wants him to take that shot. And hopefully he no longer wants to take that shot either. But we are playing 3 games this week, starting with, I believe, the Knicks on Wednesday night. And then is it the Clippers and then the Raptors? I think Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday.
Let's see. So I've got the schedule up. Yeah, we play New York. Then we play the Clippers. Toronto is Saturday.
Okay, so Clips are Friday. Knicks are Wednesday. What do you think happens? How many are we winning?
So let's see. Knicks, Clips, Raptors, and let's throw in Boston too, because Boston game is at 7:30. we'd probably not record until after.
When is that, Monday?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Monday.
If we
So-
even record on that Monday, we'll talk.
Yeah. So let's go all four. Knicks, Clippers, Raptors at home. Boston, first game on the road for a 6-game road trip. That's gonna be an interesting one.
I'm going 3-1.
I will also go 3-1.
Who is your loss?
I'm between the Clippers and Boston.
I'm saying Clippers. We lose to the Clippers.
I'm gonna say Boston, not because I think Boston's a very good team. I just think that team loves playing against us. They get real hype about it. I think that the Celtics to us is us to the Nets, right?
Okay.
Regular season wise,
Mhm.
right? Where the Nets are, for all intents and purposes, a more skilled basketball team and a team that you would expect to win their games against Miami Heat.
With a part-time basketball player, the first of its kind.
Right. The Heat are a better team than the Celtics.
Mhm.
The Celtics play up to us and it kind of gets under our skin. And I think we do the same to the Nets. So that's one of those where I'm going to go 3-1 and I'm going to give the loss to the Celtics. Just
Okay. Well, at least we're both 3-1 again.
yeah, I mean, I should have said 4-0 just to really, I should have said 4-0 and then follow that up with, we're going to go 4-0. We're going to solidify the 1 seed even more. And then I'm going to say that the regular season matters.
That wouldn't bother me coming from you.
Dang it. I
Sorry.
tried. I really tried on that one. What else?
I'm glad that you want to piss me off, but culture player of the week.
Ooh, let's see. I have to. I
don't know who you're gonna.
You don't know?
Mm-mm. Oh, Duncan.
America runs on it. Right. It's Duncan. It's
Okay.
Duncan Robinson.
I don't
Listen,
even drink coffee.
Dunkin' Donuts has donuts and actually actual decent breakfast sandwiches. along the
Dunkin'
line.
Donuts are not
terrible.
They're
No.
not anything that you should be consuming.
They're like bottom tier fast food
Yes.
donut. Like
yeah.
Krispy Kreme much better.
Ew, I hate Krispy Kreme.
Stop.
So in middle school, we used to get them, I think every like Monday at homeroom or whatever. I would have to leave the room and I'd be excused while they were there because they made me gag. I hate Krispy Kreme.
Were they the hot and ready too, or were they just like somebody made a bunch of them and they just brought over cases of it?
No, like the teacher or whoever would like go and get them that morning, so they were like freshly. It was so I can't.
You're wild. You're
That's
wild. Listen,
disgusting.
when that sign is on, right? When that Krispy Kreme hot and ready sign is on,
Ew.
and you watch them going down the line, and you watch them go under that waterfall of diabetes, right? And you just see
I'm like,
them,
I literally feel
you
sick.
see them get glazed all beautifully, and they're like so shiny, and it's so unhealthy. I'm telling you this right now.
Ew.
I don't do it because I would probably die on the spot. I am confident I could eat an entire dozen of those hot and ready.
That
in one
is so
sitting.
disgusting
I
that
could
I
do
don't
it.
even.
I wouldn't do it.
That is disgusting.
I wouldn't do it, but I could do it for sure.
My ex made us go to like not like the factory, but you could like tour something of when they were being made. And I sat in the car while he did that. And then B, when he came back, I literally got out of the car until he ate the donuts that he got, and then made him drive with all the windows down for like the next like 20 minutes. It was there's something about the smell of those donuts. Like I can't do it. I like donuts. It's just
do you though?
Krispy
It doesn't
Kreme.
sound like it.
No, Krispy Kreme is I cannot.
You're probably listen. And now don't get me wrong. There are good like fancy donuts. So there's this donut place that there's one in Wynwood, which is the first one I went to, and they actually just opened a place here in Orlando that's super good. It's called the Salty.
Okay.
More specifically, the Salty Donut. They have like 2 different kinds. They have like cake donuts, and then they have brioche donuts. I'm talking about thick brioche
those
donuts.
sound really good.
They have like a vanilla glaze one that's super delicious, and then their marquee one, which is a cake donut, and it's like brown butter salt.
Cake donuts are my favorite.
Right. Their donuts are great. Don't get me wrong. I love donuts of literally every kind. Mine is Dunkin' Donuts because they're trash. I've had Tim Hortons once. Not a fan. So if you're from Canada, I'm sorry.
I like Tim Hortons more than Dunkin' though.
I had Tim Hortons once, so I don't know. But I've had Dunkin' enough times to know that it's bad. So sure, I'll give the win.
We have Stan's Donuts here, and that's like one of my top. They actually opened one not very far from me. The thing is, I have to have vegan donuts because I can't have dairy, and Stan's has like 4 different flavors. So We're good there.
Why am I even talking to you about donuts? I forgot you eat vegan donuts. Let's get back to
No, I
basketball.
used to eat regular donuts though. Like I've tried plenty.
Apparently not.
It's not. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what Krispy Kreme tastes like because I can't get past the smell.
If I ever meet you in person, my goal is to go to a Krispy Kreme,
I
buy
will
some
never.
donuts,
Nope.
chop them up kind of finely, go out
That's
to eat,
disgusting.
and then like sprinkle the the Krispy Kreme donut right on top of whatever.
Genuinely,
you're eating.
if you ruined my food with that, I'd be so angry. Like we'd actually be in a real life argument. I don't care if you did that and didn't ruin my food, but if you ruined my meal with that, I'd be so angry.
Actually, I'm wondering if anyone sells like a scent, right? Like a spray scent of Krispy Kreme.
My God.
I want to buy it. I want to buy it and just like ship it to you. This will be fun. Or anybody listening, if you know of a Krispy Kreme scented candle or something,
Michael
let me know. Send me the link and I'm going to send it straight to line. But yeah, look, America runs on bad donuts and
good coffee though. Crack coffee.
Coffee's trash. And a guy who can shoot 3-pointers. Well, Duncan's coming back around. Something about being in the starting lineup is kind of clicking with him again. And he's making shots at home, not on the road. It's happening. So listen, I think he always has a place on this team if the shots are falling. I've always understood if the shots aren't falling, he's not giving you much else. Right now, the interchangeability in having a 3-point shooter between him and Max Strus, yes, they play very differently. Both shoot threes at a pretty effective rate. That's working really well for the Heat right now. I'm loving it. So listen, Duncan Robinson, welcome back. I never doubted you.
I'm giving it to Caleb because there's nothing this man can't do. It's ridiculous, the type of player that we got in him. And it's not over yet. Like, I don't even feel like we've seen the tip of the iceberg with him. I'm confident every time that ball is in his hands. I highly respect his basketball IQ. The grind is there. The grit is there. Hats completely off to Caleb. And I am so excited to see what's to come.
It feels like Caleb is what they always wanted DJJ and Mo Harkless to be, right? That like option is like Jimmy's kind of backup, right? Where obviously you're not going to do Jimmy stuff, but you're going to play just as hard. Your defense is going to be great. And offensively, you're going to contribute every once in a while at a pretty high rate, right? Not all the time, but pretty often. We've said it time and time again. I think, honestly, we're going to get to the end of the season, and I want us to look back and think what was the best acquisition that the Heat made, and I'm going to include any players that had a bump in their minutes, right? So Gabe Vincent was already here. Not an acquisition. He started playing more.
Yeah.
Max Strus already here, started playing more. Caleb Martin, Omer. Of those guys, which one we're going to think is best? I think right now Caleb Martin is running away with it.
Absolutely. But if we're talking about acquisitions, no one comes close to PJ for me still.
Sure. I'm sorry. In my head, and I didn't say this, I'm thinking under the radar acquisitions. PJ, Kyle
then
Lowry.
Caleb for sure. Yeah.
PJ, Kyle Lowry. Obviously, that's a whole other echelon there. I mean, they're starters. I know what I want from them.
No,
these are guys
Caleb
that I
is an athletic
know.
freak in the best way possible. And it is a pleasure to watch him. And we better keep him around for as long as we can.
Listen, to his twin brother, sucks to suck, bro. This is what happens when you're at a real organization that actually invests and gives you a chance. And to the Hornets, listen, it's what happens when you're run by the number 2 player in basketball history.
You just sound so dumb every time you say that. And I want to help you. It's like, I don't want you to come off this way, but Michael, that is such an awful opinion.
You're right. He's probably number 3.
Oh my God.
LeBron's to go. It's GG's.
Jesus.
It's GG's.
That's bad. That's
I don't even remember. We've talked about it before. You know what GG is.
Yes.
What is it?
What do you mean? What is it?
Like when somebody says like GG's.
Doesn't it mean like game over? Like that's it?
Oh, like good game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. I don't know.
I was like, is there a trick
question? It's more gamer talk.
Oh.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, I think we picked some good Heat culture players of the week. There are some Heat Twitter things you have on here we got to bring up, but I think it transitions perfectly from what we were just talking about. You know, GOAT things, right? Duncan Robinson, obviously Oladipo, real GOAT talks. LeBron James Instagram
Mhm.
post. It's him with like his head down, Heat banners behind him. And what's the quote? It's the 305 to my
305 to my
city,
city, which is a
right?
Drake lyric.
For sure. That kind of like love and appreciation in a post and stuff, I feel like the Heat haven't gotten from LeBron much at all. I'm not saying he wants to come back. I'm just saying maybe he's looking at his situation like, man, maybe I should have never left.
What I think he's doing is distracting from the abysmal loss. Although we had a near collapse, which would have been, I don't even want to know what Heat Twitter would have turned into had we lost that game. But to me, it was more a distraction than anything. I don't think it means anything but him trying to just kind of take away from the fact that they lost to us. That was about it in my mind.
Would you welcome him back?
Well, can you tell me more specifically of in what way?
So trade obviously seems highly unlikely. Like midseason trade, definitely not. I think it would have to be a player option thing. I don't even know if he has a player option for this upcoming offseason.
Right.
I know that next season is the last one of his extension, unless he signed another one. But I don't know if he has like an option that he can just like opt out this summer. Let's just say hypothetically, right? Let's just live in La La Land for a second.
I mean, this is all La La Land to me, so yes,
right.
run with it.
LeBron opts out,
and
he's like, "Yo, Pat, my bad. G, I should have been there.
I would be like,
the whole time.
Who is this?
No,
click.
I think Pat is much smarter than that.
No.
If LeBron James says he wants to be back in Miami, do you make it so that LeBron James is back in Miami?
You know what's interesting? I feel like I was never the person that held against him that he left. Like it didn't. I was fine with it. I still rooted for him.
He was a rental from day one.
I don't want him back. And I don't say this with any pettiness or malice. I'm over it. Like we've moved on from that era. And I think that the group we have now, and I'm not saying that this group is going to stay intact even fully next year, but the core identity of this group, it's just like, we have moved on from the LeBron days. So no, I think like I'm good. We had our run. It was great. It's like going back to an ex. It's just like, don't do it, you know?
Listen, for LeBron, bring it in. Just bring it in.
And that's valid. This
LeBron.
Is not something that I'm like, oh, how could you say that? For me, I want to leave that where it is. I'm happy to move on with a different era.
Yeah, I like I said, I always knew he was a rental. I think everybody knew he was a rental. Expecting him to finish out his career here didn't make any sense. You could tell he wanted to go back.
I think what people, I mean, no, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but it seems like a good majority of people were more so expecting him to stay a little longer and do a little more, considering that I think he could have. I feel like they kind of felt like him leaving was a bit premature, even the people that didn't think he was going to finish his career out. And I get that and I see that, but for me, it was like, all right, this kind of hurts. It stings. It is what it is. I didn't hold it against him. It's just for LeBron to come on a team, you're changing the whole team. You're changing the complete makeup. It's impossible to have LeBron on your team. I don't want to go back in time. Like I enjoyed that, but we're here now and I want to move forward with a different look.
I didn't mind that he left. I didn't like the way he left and the kind of like the fallout after, right? Like he leaves Cleveland. They burn his jersey. The owner is hella racist about it, right? He puts out an ad, right, for the city of Cleveland. And when I say we, I mean Miami. I mean, when literally the entire country is destroying this man and his life and his career and his credibility and saying whatever they want about him, we are the only ones backing him. We're the only ones defending him. We're the only ones showing him support. And then when things got good again and everybody liked him again, there was no really appreciate you, Miami, for everything you did. You taught me to be a champion.
No, but
exactly what happened.
That didn't surprise me.
No, I'm not saying it's surprising, but I mean, come on, man, you got to say something, because everything that you are, you learned how to be a champion because of us. Because you never, I don't think you would have won in Cleveland.
That's just not in his DNA.
Sure, I get it. It's fine. I just think a player of that caliber, listen, you want to be down here? I'm game. I think him leaving was great though, because Pat was starting to like give into everything he wanted.
Mhm.
And as we can see, LeBron James is probably one of the worst GMs in NBA
But that's
history.
what I'm saying. Having him back, the same thing would happen.
I think if LeBron came back to Miami, which literally has maybe like a 0.02% chance of happening,
Not even.
If he did come back, I think it would be him knowing and acknowledging, I'm coming back because you can build this better than I can, and I trust you to build it.
I don't know if you've noticed, but he is getting worse with age in terms of his bravado. And I don't say that. I don't mind it.
He's being a petty a-hole.
Right. It's getting worse. So there's no shot that he returns and is like, you know what? You guys know better than I do. I'll sit here and just let you do your thing. Come on.
Look, I've always thought when he was leaving Cleveland again the second time, which I love anything to really piss off Cleveland people. But when he was leaving Cleveland again a second time, I would have welcomed him back then too. And I say this earnestly, had he chosen the Heat, not the Lakers, I think he has at least 2 more championships by now.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, in terms of his attitude, if you think he's going to come back and be like, Pat, you know what's up? Like, Spo, I'm going to no way.
I think
zero shot.
I think age does a little something. Plus, how great would it be
age
to have,
he's getting worse. Are you kidding?
Plus, how great would it be to have LeBron and Bronny both suit up for the Heat? Granted, I prefer Zaire Wade. I want Zaire Wade one day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Right. That's higher up on the list of like NBA Suns. But listen, I want a dream team of Zaire Wade, Sharif O'Neal, and
so you want to go to the
get
circus,
Bronny.
Basically.
Oh, 100%.
No, yeah,
listen,
that's
you know, the rails are going to come
real.
off at some point, and when they do, I want it to be fun as hell. Having like the all-sun NBA team, that would be amazing. I'm all for it. You would want that? Oh, that'd be great. Zaire Wade alley-oop to Sharif. I mean, come on.
This sounds like a weird Space Jam remake.
It'd be better than the Space Jam remake because that movie was trash. You didn't even watch it though.
Little kid. Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I saw it.
I'm surprised.
Why?
I don't know. You have horrible taste in movies. Well, actually, then that makes sense why you watched it.
It was for little kids. It wasn't made for you.
No.
Although with your maturity level, it may have indeed be exactly for your age demographic.
Yeah. How's the snow up there?
Oh, it's melted. Don't worry about it. I actually like the winter, so.
You actually like the winter, yeah, because you're a cold heart. Okay, so what else do we have from Heat Twitter?
Christian Wood came up in a potential trade discussion today, which, interestingly enough, someone in my real life, let's call it, actually brought this up literally a year ago and was like, y'all should look after Christian Wood because he'd be a perfect fit. Then lo and behold, this morning I see that. I'm like, future telling happening here. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm not saying we should go ahead and do it in terms of like, it would depend what we give up, but in a bubble, do I like him? Do I think that he's a good fit? Yes. I think he's exactly the type of player the Heat would love.
Sorry, you just said in a bubble. You know,
yeah, I didn't say in a vacuum. Just
how I feel about the bubbles and vacuums, which don't exist.
No, I've never heard you say anything about bubbles. You just hate vacuums for some reason.
No, I don't like when people say, in a vacuum that makes sense, but in the real world it doesn't. What the hell else we got to deal with? This isn't Spider-Man. We can't. I don't know.
You're talking about the All Suns team.
That is plausible.
You're clearly not in reality.
Excuse you. That is incredibly possible. I'm gonna buy a.
I somehow knew it was gonna be a very long evening.
I'm gonna start Bronny coin. Okay, crypto is the thing. I'm gonna start Bronny coin. Look, Christian Wood, great NBA player. I just don't. I wouldn't understand the distribution of minutes at that point because I don't.
Well, but that comes down to who we're giving up, right? And that's why I can't really talk about like where he'd slide in the roster.
Would I rather have Christian Wood than Dwayne Dedmon? Yes, because of the basketball talent. I like Dwayne Dedmon more as a person. I mean, listen, the fact that he has a nickname that was invented by Heapy and is now carried around everywhere, like that kind of persona, like, listen, hats off to you, man. You're doing great. From a personality standpoint, sure, I like Dedmon better. Is Christian Wood a better basketball player? For sure. But that's not what you get Christian Wood for. I mean, he's playing like 30 minutes per game this season. You'd cut him down a ton. I really don't think I want him next to Bam. They tried some Bam Omer minutes.
Yeah, but I don't think I know where you're going with that, but I just don't think you can make that comparison because Yurt is nowhere near ready to perform at the same level that I don't know what would look like next to Bam, but I'd have way more confidence in that than I would take Yurt and Bam together.
I just honestly think Bam is doing really well.
Oh, yeah.
In the position he's in right now. And I think bringing in someone like Christian Wood changes him, or you have Christian Wood as completely as a reserve, which again, for a player who's 26 years old playing at that level, just kind of seems strange. And I don't even know if Christian Wood would want that unless it's just like a rental for half a season thing. So I just don't see where it makes sense. If they make the trade and they can make it cheaply, sure, I'm not going to say no to that.
I do think he would fit the culture though, at the very least.
Sure.
Yeah. I like the idea of him.
And we have talked about it before. And again, yeah, maybe we could make it work, right? Maybe you have Wood at the 5, Bam at 4. You have, oh man, that's weird then, right? Because then you have what? PJ, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Kyle, right?
Although if we struggle on one thing, size is somewhat of a problem, especially against the likes of the Nets and the Bucks. So
I think they have a way to combat those because although PJ and Bam don't have the prototypical size, I think they do play up, especially defensively.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I personally don't see it. I think Christian Wood's a fantastic basketball player. I just don't really see the fit all that much.
I don't see it necessarily happening, but I wouldn't hate it. And I do think he's a good cultural fit. But that does beg the question of if at this point you even think the Heat should be considering a trade.
Other than acquiring LeBron James.
Right.
What kind of trades would I want? I mean, I'm okay. I think this team is built really well. I think they've got a good amount of depth. I think trading that depth for a top heavy player, right? Like accumulate some of that depth, get some really top tier player. I think that works great if everyone is able to stay healthy the entire time, because I'm not sure that can happen. That kind of worries me. I don't know if I'd really go all in on that. There's not really a player that I'm dying to get other than, maybe like Joel Embiid just to see you pass out. So honestly, for me, aside from some little trades on players that right now have value that you don't see getting minutes, maybe you're trying to trade high on them for other assets of any kind, I'm good. I'm not really dying for any moves. I think maybe buyout market, you can acquire a guy or two if you feel so inclined, but even then, who's that going to be? So I think the Heat are fine as is, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think there are certain players, and KZ has not panned out to being what he needs to be. Would I necessarily go out of my way to figure out how to get him off the team right now when everything else is working? No. But if there does happen to be a situation, a small move here and there that is KZ, I don't know what else, and whatever pick down the line, fine. I don't think that would bother me. But yeah, I
guess what I'm thinking of is contributing players that get minutes, players that I want to see out there. Of the like 12 guys that I think are rotation worthy, yeah, I'm standing pat.
Yeah, for me, it's more so a chemistry thing because we already have had to combat so many injuries and because of the protocols. What?
I was just waiting for you to ship Duncan.
No, I mean, I've said this. If we're gonna go after someone big, I would get rid of him tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm just saying, in terms of bringing someone new in when we haven't even really settled in what I think is going to be our primary starting lineup and those key rotations, it seems crazy to bring an entirely new body in there when we've barely had time with the full, healthy roster. So I am curious to see what other rumors come out. But I'm fine if we don't. And
I mean, we've talked about it multiple times. We also do have that acquisition type of thing coming up in Victor. right? You've got
Yeah.
like that boost to inject, which is really what the Heat do make moves for a lot of times, right? That like boost of energy, whether
And
it
Keith,
be
if he ever returns.
whether it was what Jay Crowder, Iguodala.
Mm-hmm.
The next season, who'd they acquire? Ariza.
Ariza, yeah.
So like they have that. I mean, I think Victor can be that boost, right? He
Oh
can
yeah,
be that, like,
absolutely.
clean up some of the minutes, kind of help push the load off. Look, I got to see what names come up too. I am not in tune with any sauces or anything like that. So that ain't us. But when those sources do become public on Twitter, we will talk about it then. Do you think the Heat make a move? Yes or no? As in, sorry, let me take that back. Do you think the Heat make a meaningful move, as in rotation players shift away, changed for anything else?
No.
I agree with you. And it feels gross, but I agree.
The question is, what do Ethan and Greg think? Because they are the resident source havers.
Yeah, I mean, network. Yeah. They're probably sitting over there like, huh, they're crazy. They've got these like 10 players lined up.
I get a text from Ethan. You guys shouldn't have said any of that. Surprise.
You guys are dumb. Which I already know this. That's why I do a pod with you. Even IQ of 10 combined. I'm 6, you're 4.
Yeah, that's funny. Last thing I have on here, which has nothing to do with the Heat. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Grayson Allen, because he has been really the talk of the town for these last few days. I am literally not surprised at his actions nor at the suspension. So I have not even chimed in on the discussion, but I'm curious to see what you think.
Grayson Allen has been a tool / and or douchebag literally the entire time I've seen him play basketball. So here's what I think. F him, suspend him for 12 games. I don't care. Send him back to the G League. Make that his suspension. Look,
we all knew that wasn't happening.
He's a tool. We've seen him do stuff like this since Duke, right? Like, look, Duke basketball players are pretty often hated. That's just the way it is. And I hate Duke basketball players. I'm a University of Miami fan. They're in the ACC. Screw Duke, right? If you look back, what was the name of the guy? He has a podcast now, right? He's like Duncan Robinson's papa.
JJ
Redick, right? He was absolutely hated when he was at Duke.
I love JJ.
But he didn't really do anything, in my opinion, that was like super hating worthy.
I
like,
also don't think Winslow fits that either.
Yes. Grayson has been a douchebag since day one. I mean, he's been tripping people in college.
His name is Grayson. Like, come on.
Who do you think you are, bro? Like, get out of here.
Club.
Yeah. Look, a lot of people are upset about it. He is, look, and a lot of times they look like accidental too, like the things he does. This
didn't even, this was the game I was watching on Friday night. There was nothing. It was just blatant.
It happens so often. It happens so often with this one player that at a certain point, you're just like, you just don't have a regard for what happens to anyone else.
No.
I would love for someone to just like clock him, right? Pull a Dexter Pittman and really just like pop, knock him out. I think that would be great. That's not going to happen. So it is what it is.
I think honestly it'll catch up to him one day. I'm not saying from the Bulls necessarily. He's gonna hit the wrong guy on the wrong night, and it's gonna be done for him. It happened. It didn't surprise me. The fact that he was only suspended one game. I mean, like, look at Jokic. Keith hasn't played in 36 games or something ridiculous. So wasn't surprised. That's why I didn't even bother chiming in on the matter. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, come on, really?
There's something that's quite similar about these two, and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, except one's Euro and one's like,
oh, come on.
No, I'm sorry. There is absolutely no comparison.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah, well, you don't really know what you're talking about, but that's neither here nor there.
Fine. Look, Grayson Allen and Jokic are different. There, I said it. But they're both they're different in their ethnicity. They're both douchebags. How about that? Does that work?
Yeah, and also, not that I would ever defend Jokic, but I do think that Grayson Allen has more of a reputation for
Oh,
being
for sure.
this type of a player.
Grayson Allen is a bigger tool.
Yes.
Not literally, obviously, doughboy over there, but yes. Look, let's be honest. Jokic looks like he could eat Zion Williamson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Zion Williamson looks like
but
he
it's a
could
problem when I comment on Zion's
and
condition.
Zion looks like he could eat 4 Grayson Allens. So like, what do we?
All right, I didn't say it. Michael did, and this seems like a good place to stop before we put our foot in our mouths. Any last?
You know who would like to
words?
put their foot in their mouth? Zion
This
Williamson when
could
he's
go
hungry.
one of two ways. All right. Well, 3-1 for the Heat coming up.
Yeah,
We're
that's what we
sticking
say.
with that? All right.
And that should keep them in first place. Yeah,
I think
first
so.
place Heat regular season matters. Maybe Allana.
Absolutely. Good night, y'all.